Okay. Hey, it's up. Look at that. Magic beans. Okay. Hi, everybody. I am just getting myself organized. Crazy day. It's been a crazy day. Okay, so I'm getting a couple things done. I am just in the process of putting up the page from yesterday. I have had a day. And of course, I'm having a day. Sometimes you don't get to do your regular old routine. Today's one of those days. So I'm just posting the page now for folks. But of course, some of the things you find that when you're posting things, it's a real hassle to get things on different platforms because they all got their different shapes. Hey, Linda, welcome aboard. So not only their different shapes, but then there's their different. We're gonna tighten up that frame, and we're not gonna let you have that much space. And oh, what a pain in the business. So no fun. But here we go. Nope. Okay, so today's page, let's just get down to it. Today's page is a suggestion that came from Mariah from PM Art Studios, and they are such fun. Patricia and Mariah, I highly suggest that if you have not as yet gone to visit them and to check out what's going on there, you need to do it because man, I tell you, there is so much information coming through that place, and they've got so much of a healthy community, and so many. I haven't met anybody online, honestly, that's kind of a turkey character, and if I did, I wouldn't have much time for them in the first place. But it's also exciting when you meet people online that they're all just genuinely nice and talented. So, for those that are wondering, the page is now posted on YouTube and on Facebook. Hi, Gary, welcome aboard. Okay, so I'll show you the page here, just for those that are waiting. Sorry for the delay. And here we go. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Kapow. So this is today's page. It's done in pencil crayon. The original was up just a second ago. Hi, Chris, welcome aboard. So drawing this in pencil crayon, it's a challenge because I work really lightly. In person, the page pops, but when I scan it and I put it in into the same format that I've been utilizing, I feel like it dulls everything down, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to beef that up, because I want for that to just sing a little bit more, and I don't want to, and I didn't have time to really monkey around with it before the stream because I really just kind of got in and sat down here because I've been, A B C D E. So, here we are. I appreciate everybody that joined us yesterday. I appreciate everybody joining in today. I hope people find it interesting. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do images of other people in the course of doing their streams. I also did, and I'll show you a couple other things that I got going at the same time before we get down to today's page. Hi, Didi, welcome aboard. Oh, Didi says the community we all have is awesome. It really is. It really is. And Didi's another fine example of it. I got a chance just to say hi this morning because of what I was doing, and I have to go back and watch Didi stream later because I enjoy watching Didi stream, and I enjoy watching Patricia and Mariah, and I enjoy watching Miriam. Miriam's streaming right now with a friend of hers. I'm really interested in seeing what the two of them are working on together. Chris is amazing. The whole community is fantastic, and the larger community, but there's so many talented artists out there that I can't. It would take, honestly, at this point, it'd take me a good 10, 15 minutes to just name everybody, just because they're such great people. So, okay, so let's get down to it. What do we got? I'm missing a whole bunch of things. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, everybody saying hi. Chris says awesomeness. I like awesomeness. And hi. Drawing looks good. Thanks. Great. Thanks, Didi. So the idea here is I wanted to introduce the notion of them going to this art supply store. And the art supply store has magic doors. And the magic doors let you go through and talk. And this is a suggestion that I got yesterday in the stream here, that you can go through these doors. Magic artist portal to ask artists art questions came from, and I didn't write down who these came from. So if it's you, please let us know in the chat. And then the other one is Patricia Gets Lost in the Studio and Mariah Declutters. That, I think, is another adventure. But my point is that I got today started. Like the first page here is kind of like I'm setting up a larger narrative or a larger, this is page 1 of XYZ. And because it's such a fun idea to possibly explore more of. And so the Adventures of P&M, this is kind of like a page that sort of starts things off. And time permitting and permission permitting and all those things, I do more parts of this in the future. I wanted to make sure I got this page put out for people today. And my my last minute running the studio and scramble thing here, So what do we got? Chris says, yes, I wish I could watch streams, but I need to do so many things for the house and a job. Yeah, that's completely understandable. You should never feel obligated to be at everybody's streams. I play things in the background while I'm in the studio. That's how I'm able to engage in people's streams. I'd like to sit there and just watch. And there are times where I'll stop for a few minutes and see what's going on. But largely it's I'm listening as I'm working. So, even claiming to watch other people's streams, I'm not. I'm doing my best at that as well. And so don't ever feel like you can look. Even Didi says here, yeah, we can't be at all streams at all times. No, it's impossible. Okay, so there's today's page. I can't fit the whole thing in the camera because it's 11 by 17 and it washes out. But there is page number 1. So you can see that I put on things like the borders, the text, and all of that. I do that digitally. So there's our first page. Anywho, and this is the part of it that I was illustrating yesterday during our stream. So I had to get that part of them singing their opening. I had to do that. That had to be in there. But if you want to see an image that you can blow up to whatever size you want to blow it up to, check it out on Instagram and Facebook. Also this weekend, a friend of mine had an opening for his new art studio. And so I went to visit him, switching. There we go. And I went to go visit him at his new studio. It's gorgeous. And he does tattooing, but he's also a fine artist. And so I got to go and check that out, and I really enjoyed it. But it's his birthday, and I'm bringing him a present to say, wow, congratulations, and I'm proud of you. And he says, hey, check out one of these sketchbooks. I got 20 of them. He gives me a sketchbook. So yesterday we went to visit Lori's brother in Paris. And so Lori drove, and I haven't finished this, just because I was drawing it in the car. But I got to do a little doodle. I got a couple more of what I call the sexiest pencil crayons I've ever seen. These Faber-Castells. That's my whole selection. Yellow, blue, red, black, and white. And but look how pretty those are. Gold Faber. Anyway, so that's what I got to doodle with yesterday. And it's a feel-good book. It's got a nice, the paper's got a nice consistency to it. It's a little creamy, the color of it, but you can utilize that for like a base tone. Anyways, I've decided that this sketchbook, I've got a sketchbook that's just my drawings on Sunday when I maybe should be listening to where I am. And then I've got a sketchbook for it's the book of tricks where I write everything down. And then I've got my large sketchbook for, just an anatomy and movement and kinetic stuff. And now I've got, is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got a sketchbook specifically for a comic that I'm doing. And then I got this, and this is the other piece of excitement. I found this randomly at a store in Paris, Ontario. And I couldn't believe it because I was just about to have to order a bunch of these. Hi, Estella, welcome aboard. Oh, Didi, thank you very much. That's nice of you to say good likenesses. That's very nice. Okay, so I found this in a store, and it's supposed to be for manga. But what this book has is about 60 pages, and these 4 squares with a little bit of lines underneath is for a person to break down a page, a sequential story page, right? It's a boarding page is what this is called. So you can work out your roughs for each of the pages that you're going to do. And, oh, I don't like that layout. I'll redo it here. There's something missing there. I'll redo it here. You know, anyhow, so what I was going to do was order a bunch. And now I don't know how well you can see the little blue lines in the corners. Woo! This is a completely graphed out page for me to illustrate on. And I got to tell you, I'm a very, very happy monkey because, man, you know, you can't get enough of those. You can't get enough pages like these to work on. And I've been blowing through them so fast in the last few years. I mean, last year's page count was fairly high. And, you know, in addition to that, all the ones that I have made and that I had ordered from the company that produces them for me, I'm out. And that's that's a big box that I just went through. But I'm going to grab some more off of my stack. I got a big old stack of random paper here. And hey, let's work on this one. So this is one of the pages that I told you about. Now you can't really see the blue, but this is, it says at the top, creator, book, issue, page number. And then at the top, it's divided like so. So you can divide it into thirds. You can divide it down the center. Same thing for along the sides. And it's got this double line like that so that you can do what are called gutters. And that's the spaces between panels. And it's sort of preset for you if you want to break that down. So it's very interesting layout for that notebook. It really is. Chris says, oh my God, with the doodle, it's fantastic. You saw my normal ugly starts when drawing the prompts. Finished ones on Instagram, nothing similar to the initial sketch. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to check that out. I've got an objective today, and that is I really enjoyed watching Chris and Miriam on Sunday. They pulled out 4 prompts, and I asked if I could do those prompts today, and they said yes. So, sorry, I'm getting a little caffeine jazz here going. So the 4 prompts for today, I will write them down on a magic piece of paper. But the 4 prompts are fantasy, seasonal, medieval, and lantern or candle. And then there were colors as well, if I'm not mistaken. Red, gray, brown. So, okay, easy. I don't know how legible that is to read that, but yeah, so if you can find a sketchbook like this one. Now, this one is for, it says it's for manga. And, you know, I could care less about the manga part. Look, Leo grids, dramatic, drawing frames. Blah, blah. So, you know, manga storyboard sketchbook. That's what it's called, from Sterling Press. As far as an ISBN goes for people, if you're interested in just checking this out, the ISBN number is 978-1-4549-2969-7. And this book, this sketchbook that I showed you that I really enjoyed, and if this is the one for this is from Lita Art Supplies. and they talk about the Leda and the Swan myth. Ooh, I like it. But the you can order these online, and there is, oh, I don't know how focused it is because my cameras suck. 39027 54535. Oops, I'm sorry, 739027549 or 54535-4. LedaArtSupply.com. And thanks again to my friend Artie Ostrowski for giving me this. Great guy. Great artist. Really looking forward to, now he's got his new studio set up, to see what he's doing. Okay, so today, now I had talked about painting today's page. And so I'm going to do that. So I hope people find that interesting. Right there. Look at that. See, I sort of set myself up with a spot that I know I can have the text and still be in camera with stuff. There it is. Okay. So for today's page, I was just going to break it down into 4s. Okay. And so how I'm going to do that is I'm going to utilize these markers on this page that I told you about for the center lines. Whoopsie. I made a squiggle at the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide these suckers in half. What are we at? 5? There we go. Happy days. This way, I've got 4 vertical frames, and I don't even use the marks. What a guy. I've got 4 vertical frames moving across the page, and there. Yeah, I work to the beat of my own drum here. Clearly, it's the craziest measuring you've probably ever seen. Okay, so I've got these 4 vertical panels that I'm going to utilize. This is the objective is to do fantasy, seasonal, medieval, lantern, and with red, gray, and brown. Red, gray, and brown. And it's a brown ochre. So let's see what we got. Just grabbing one of my drawers that are full of paints. So get some paint out of there, you know. Brown ochre is kind of like a bronze yellow, or I guess it's more of a copper color now that I think about it. So I got a copper, I got a crimson, I have a white, and I have a black. So I might use a little bit of umber in there too, because that's what all the cool kids are doing back at camp. It's not a Tron disc, it's a palette plate. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just lay out some color on this palette, and then we'll go from there. My intention is to follow these objectives here of fantasy, seasonal, medieval, and lantern or candle. So I'm just going to use, and I'm going to mix with this copper, I'm going to mix some umber. And then I got a black and I got a white. So yeah, and then that's what we're going to do today's page with. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you are too. I'm never going to buy these Galleria paints again, because I have never had such a hassle of getting the lids off of things, because the whole top of the paint tube twists, and it drives me crazy. And if you try to push all your paint up to the top, the pressure, and as soon as you try to get some paint out of it, oh, miss. Okay, so I've got these values here. Now, I can, if I like, sorry for the noise. All right, if I want, I can try to figure it out according to, I got 4 seasons, right? What do we got? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now, this palette automatically lends itself to fall, right? It just does. And that's great, but at the same time, it's not very helpful for the other seasons. So we got to get creative. I think that what I'm going to do is use each of these, the principal colors, as a base layer. And so I'm going to take the white, I'm going to take some of that black, and I'm going to make up a body of gray. And I'm just going to start throwing that down on the surface. Now, unlike normal, when I throw paper down and surfaces and stuff like that, today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different instead. And that is build up surface complexity. So I'm going to be really loose in how I put values down, and then we'll build up some interesting textures and things in the composition. So if my first for spring is going to be in a soft, the gray, which is, very, what is this? Just 2 seasons. You mentioned this yesterday. No, I'm doing 4. I live in Canada. We have 4. It's part of the rules of being here. Okay, so I'm just covering a good percentage of the page in the gray. Okay, and then now I'm going to come in the same haphazard way. We're going to put down pink, part of our basic red here. And so this is just a Bristol paper or cardstock paper that I'm using. It hasn't been primed or anything like that at all. It's just, we're going for it. And I'm painting very, very loose, very wet. But, well, not so wet that it's going to completely destabilize, but I'm just going to make sure there isn't too much buckling. Okay, so there's our summer from our basic colors. Missing conversation, I'm sorry. Oh, that's Jim. Jim's joined us. Hiya. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Just popped in to say hello. And Gary says, Mr. Luan. Excellent. Well, I appreciate people being here. Appreciate Gary dropping by, and Jim dropping by, and Dee Dee dropping by, and Stella dropping by, and Chris dropping by. And who am I missing? I don't want to miss anybody. Again, everybody so far. Oh, Linda. Yeah, Linda was the first one. That's why I shouldn't pop into mind immediately, because right in there, right there to start. That is cool. Okay, so this is the umber mixed in with this copper. Now it's supposed to be a brown ochre. Well, we'll see what we do with that. I might cheat a little bit and put ochre in as well. I'm a cheater. So again, I'm not overly worried about the haphazardness of this base layer. I'm using a scrumbly brush that I treat roughly because it knows what it did. It knows what it's done. Okay, so the last one. So for this last panel, I'm going to very little. That stupid paint's mixed over. It's all right. So here I'm gonna very little red and black in here to make a kind of a warmer gray. Some of the cool kids on the back of the bus there. So I have now got to figure out a composition that includes medieval, fantasy over these 4 seasons. So I can draw the same thing 4 times. That's a possible thing, right? But that's boring. Are you in the next episode of D versus M, Gary? For those that don't know, Gary Hodges' book is something to be checked out. DVSM is a series. You can look it up and online. They're amazing books. I really enjoy them. But I can't sing their praises enough. Gary has done 3 issues of it already. I love them. I've got 4 or 5 different people to read them now. And in addition to that, he's working on the 4th installment. And man, like Dee Dee asking him there, a lot of us are excited for that. It'll come out when it comes out. You know, it needs its time to percolate and grow and to come to life. But when it does, there's a bunch of us ready to enjoy it. But please check out DVSM. DVSM. Chris says, I drop everywhere, say hello, and then head for the balcony. Right now, I'm trying to organize my ideas for my homework training course on designing class materials. Oh boy, it's a course on teaching. I'm putting together a course. Still working on script. Pleased with it so far. Intend to start drawing sometime this year. Excellent for a 2025 release. That's fantastic. Good. That is good. Good news. Okay, so I've got fantasy, seasonal, medieval, right? Now, why the hell are you beeping at me? So, my robot is beeping away at me. So what I'm going to do is, oh no, it's not. I thought I drank a regular Pepsi. Whew, that's bad news. Okay, so now that I've got this all set up, I think what I'm going to do is figure out a method where I can establish an environment over the pages, right? Fantasy world and set during medieval times. So a couple of the things that I could do, I suppose, is to look at an environment that has, some rolling hills, and then we'll put a castle keep up in the foreground, right? And then I can run different planes of value throughout here to give a sense of a larger what in the world am I trying to say? Landscape. Good heavens. Woo! Well, I gotta tell you, sometimes these ideas, they don't come easy. Oh, yeah. So I've got this base color in the back, right? But I'm going to paint uniformly across the front and start cut. Well, first, we're going to cut out some happy little mountains. We're going to put some happy little mountains in there. And, all the young little climbers like to go up there. Just little side. I'm doing my best Bob Ross, kids. I hear that Gary will be live streaming soon. Ooh, yes. All the kids are talking about it. And by kids, I mean 8-year-olds. Hey, that's good news. If that's true. Oh, pressure Gary, Jim. Hey, Jim, how's your movie going? Okay, so I'm just feeling out where I'm going to place things in this environment. and just sort of roughing it in as I go. Now, throwing down the background then lets me paint all kinds of fantastic fun things on top. I don't normally paint fantasy stuff. It's funny, I grew up reading Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter books and things like that, and really enjoyed Silmarillion and all kinds of other similar things. And, Thomas Covenant, and who was that wrote that? Piers Anthony, I think. But I just never really do fantasy images. I sort of grew out of that stuff. He says with the Star Wars poster behind him. Of course, series messed that joke up. We're supposed to say, and by kids. My movie is going like a freight train, keeping it on track at 51 minutes done. That's fantastic. It's tricky to think about fantasy. It could be anything. By the way, Chris, it always impresses me how you can self-correct the Siri mess-ups. You always seem to read them with the correct intent. Okay. Maybe I'm just used to writing things wrong, Jim. I don't, you know what? Did I... By kids, I mean 8-year-olds. Oh, I see. I get it. I did read that. Yeah. Well, that was just lucky. Okay. So, just putting some of the larger landscape together here, and then we've got our big castle in the foreground, and then I'm going to put an additional plane here that lets us focus more on, our travelers, our protagonist, whoever that is. So, we'll get there. But let's first put in the background. In addition to that, I'm going to have to do a dragon. Okay, these are the rules. And we will do so. I'm just using one brush for all of this, which is a little counterintuitive to some, but I'm just putting it down, just roughing it in. While listening to Billy Idol, I got a mixed thing going on, and apparently the mix believes I need to listen to Eyes Without a Face. Now, I'm going to Bob Ross this business up in a minute, and the whole bucket says, hello, everyone. Hello. Chris says, dragon, yes. Dragons are fun, right? Because dragons are just sort of, well, they're crazy. But they're worms, right? That's what the original conceit of them was a worm. I'm trying to turn it. Okay, there. It's too loud. Sorry for the noise. Okay, we got something. All right, so, well, why don't I start putting in the dragon now? If I know that this is going to be the sort of big castle-y city thing up here, right? And then we're going to do the long road that gets to the castle into the foreground, and then we've got this guy moving in through here, and in addition to that, we'll put, are you able to see that? I think you should be. We'll put some trees in the foreground. Right? have our heroes down here. But you know, I think that we ought to put something in the sky. So. Or do we want to have it up close? How close do people want that dragon? Do we want it to be menacing, or do we want it to be, you know, like, because honestly, I could have it flying overhead. I'm so happy I didn't miss a dragon. There we go. Okay, let me head to the kitchen and prepare lunch as I lurk. Lurking. Ugh, I'm going to lurk over here. Okay, so, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have our dragon move through the space. See, I want it to move across these 4 different seasons, and then have it. Yeah, I got an idea. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll have the dragon. Okay, and I'm going to put him so that he's right, and then we'll have his funny bits and all that jazz off of him here. But what I want to do is I want to have it moving through the space. He says, okay, I need to head out. Gary fell into the well again. He's chasing butterfly. Gotta go get the rope. Gary. Okay, so if this is the dragon, then his body needs to come like so. But it can't be that boring. So we're going to move it like this through the space. Right? And we'll move it. But nothing in the 4th. I have an idea. Now, does this dragon have wings or no? That's my big question for folks. I'm okay with wings. I like wings. I think you can see it. Okay, well let's get a little more creative then. Just so that it's easier to. I'm going to clean it up in a minute. But we're just throwing it down nice and sloppy. It does. Yes, that have wings. Okay, that's good. All right. Right in the front. Yeah. Okay, good. So this is the copper that I'm putting in here. Welcome aboard, by the way, Whole Bucket. I think it might be your first time here. We just have fun. So each day I try to tell a different story based on prompts or suggestions. And so we've got to do a story involving the four seasons, fantasy, seasonal, medieval, and a lantern or a candle. So it's pretty straightforward. That's pretty easy to incorporate, I think. All right. There was one thing, the Vapors turning Japanese came on my mix, and then suddenly it was Mexican radio came on my mix. Who programs that? Chris says, when I work with prompts with Miriam, we're in live stream, I feel a lot of pressure. It's not easy for me to work like that. That's completely understandable. I mean, that's the thing about anything like that, right? Is that you've got to have a comfort level of when you're working, and sometimes it's sort of setting yourself up for great challenges when, like you say, it's you feel like you're performative. You feel like, oh, I gotta do something to some extent because people are. Let that go. Don't worry about it. It sounds easy to say, I know, and I apologize for that, but you can't control people's judgment anyways. Even if, let's say, you paint the most miraculous thing that's ever been seen, people are still going to judge you according to their own criteria in the first place, and it's not fair. You can't expect to meet up other people's things. Just have fun doing what you do, and if people are going to take the time to engage with you, then they should be cool enough to recognize that, hey, we're blessed to be able to watch other people work. Don't worry too much about, you're not there to accommodate everybody, right? Like when I'm sitting here and doing this with you guys, I set myself up in the sense that I say, hey, give me suggestions, right? Give me a one-page story, an idea, and I'll draw it. That sort of forces me almost to the performative thing. But I still allow myself to have some kind of structure in that by saying, well, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. You're suggesting an idea. I don't want a script. And so that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So if you can forgive yourself from worrying about what people's thoughts are while you're working, and recognize that, hey, we might just be here because we love what you do and appreciate it and just want to enjoy watching that. Maybe that'll help out. So getting a little more structure into the dragon here. Chris says I keep doing it because it helps me getting out of my comfort zone. That's excellent. That's perfect. That is perfectamundo. Yeah, always give yourself opportunities for growth. So I'm starting really loosely with the application here. Other people put brush strokes down and, oh my goodness, it's perfect. I don't. I'm playing. I want to play. So in the course of wanting to play, I'm going to pursue some mark making here. Yeah, good enough. Oh, I got still on this brush. Well, I decided I'd go for a red dragon. He says an afterthought. Okay. I'm into an 80s playlist that is it's now the obscure stuff that I don't remember. Okay, so I'm going to move the dragon down a little bit so you can see. Yeah, you suck. Next. I got mad at that paintbrush. So now I'm going to tighten up. Let's see if I can make this a little easier to see. There you go. How's that? Okay. So I'm thinking about things like horses, and I'm thinking of dinosaurs, sure, but why are you beeping, robot? Okay. Now I've got this copper, and it's going to do some fun things, I would think. So I'm going to put a little bit of shape in the face. Oh, it's my John. Get lost. I gotta turn that off. So hopefully you can see that. It's Get your head out of the way, Chris. No, we got an idea. We got a starting place, anyways. This copper color is so weak. I'm trying to get something out of it. It's almost like it just wants to be a secondary value. It's just sad. I'm gonna put some more down. I don't know, should I have them blowing fire or whatever? Sorry. I'll over focus for a second there. Anyways, you can see the face coming together now. Making sure what it looks like in the camera. Now it's finally showing up. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the wings. There we go. The whole bucket says no fire. Watching the detail comes in stages of watching and learning a thing or two. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you want to get a couple of things down first, like figure out your composition first. Where's the underlying structure, right? Gotta make this look like a mean dragon. I feel like I'm painting a puppy here. No fire. I like that. No fire. So the spine, I guess, would have to go around here. And then it would run this way because you want to make interesting movements, interesting shapes. Am I still in the picture? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going back into that. I want it to be a little more jolly. Too right. Am I missing stuff? Nope. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out here. I know I'm not being very chatty when I'm painting a dragon. Yesterday was pencil crayon. So today I want to shake it up just a little bit. And then tomorrow I think I might be working white on black again because somebody was mentioning today they like that. So I want to see more of that. Here we are. Hello all, I'm very late but watched the start and spend alive. There we go. I love our PM adventures. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Like I said earlier, once I got started, it sort of felt like I was just doing the opening scene to something larger. You know, it just feels like there's so much more that can be done with it. Like, where do they go? mean, you tell us where you're going, but it doesn't really mean that we know where you're actually going. A little veiny. Yes, I would like to know more. Okay. Well, I just feel like that's, the first page of a larger thing. Because it's such a grand idea to explore. I feel like I got to extend this jaw quite a bit. Just, yeah, that's what I was missing. It's funny, the things that you're trying to figure out, what's wrong here? Why am I not feeling this? And then you just, oh yeah, that. See what I mean in a second. I'm glad that you like that, Demar. I appreciate that very much. It's a lot of trust, Hey, I'm going to do, here's an idea, and then when the person takes you up on it, it's still a lot of trust allowing somebody to use your image. I was talking to a friend of mine. His name's Willie, and he says lately a lot of people are using my image willy nilly. I don't know how I feel about all that. He says, I'm just trying to drive my boat. I wanted to make the dragon look scarier. That shouldn't be a good thing to see a dragon. If you ever do see a dragon, let me know. I'd like to give you somebody to talk to. Ah, there we go. Emojis. Awesome. So I set those frames in earlier, so we know that the panels end there, but if we want now, we can take this to the extent of the page, right? And just that's up to us. I'd have to erase summer, fall, winter, or maybe not. So we're sticking to these 4 colors. Let's come in with this copper now. This is a little paintbrush set that a couple of the kids gave me for Christmas, and I really like them. They're really nice. So I'm just going to tighten up around the dragon. Some of these changes that I made. And then we'll have to come back in here again. Some of this mountain range that I plotted in earlier on. I'll need to bring that back up again. Oh yeah, it's starting to look better. I think it's this copper that's going to make that. I better clean that part up too. This fellow needs to see an orthodontist. Man, does that ever kick up water, this brush? Let's do it this way. Okay. I don't, you know, I'm sure other people paint a very different way than this, but I kind of figure it out as I go, you know? And okay. I'll make him move out farther. This is too short a space. It'll make sense in a second. I want to put, I want to give the dragon more firmness. So I thought I'd have him arc around a little more. That makes sense to anybody. Am I missing stuff? The dragon is looking good in that color combination. Thanks, Chris. It's very nice of you. I don't know if I've painted a dragon like this before. All right, I'll show you what my brain just put together for me, because it's sort of like you're trying to figure out what if I got off here. I just realized that his arms need to be longer, because they sort of look like T-Rex arms. I find them ridiculous. Their prey didn't find them ridiculous. They were terrified, but the sort of stubby little arms don't make any sense. quite a change. Different approaches I have in the same day, and yet it kind of makes sense to me to try different things, like whether it's this or it's the sketch in the van, or if it's the page from today. You just got to try different stuff. There's one type of dragon with no arms, just wings and hind legs, and I think it's the wyvern. Yeah, I've never really thought about dragons too deeply. A lot of Chinese dragons don't have arms either. There, that's cleaning up the background a little bit. I'm now listening to Duran Duran. Maybe I'm missing stuff. I went to get some toast to Mr. Bit. It's coming along nicely. I have somewhere a reference with dragon types. I'm planning to look for it and to try and sketch some dragons for Easter. I have 10 days free. Oh, nice. And Mariah says, hello, Sherry. Oh, I guess that's who the whole bucket is. Hi. So I'm just cleaning up some of this lines around the dragon. This is a nice brush. I'm not one for drawing scary things. It's kind of fun. So what I'm going to do is the inside of the dragon, just because I want to push some contrast in here. I'm going to give him a whole bunch of teeth, just like a crocodile, because he loves to smile. The worst teeth. There you go. He's just up there minding his own business, singing to himself his favorite show tunes. Anybody down below? There's a whole bunch of villagers that want to shoot arrows up at him. Poor dragon. Beware. Well, anyways, that's a lot of dragon painting. What was that first paint? It was just gray, right? So I'm wondering, yeah, no, it's going to put a leg on. Forget it. So that's You know what I should have done? I should have painted clouds. When I don't work from any idea at all when I'm painting, I'll change something 73 times. You know, if anybody has any thoughts or questions, or you should have more of a top hat. So we got to put the spine on them. Right there down the center of his back, right? That's what's missing. What's today? 5th. What's that looking there? Starting to make a little more sense. I'm just studying as I watch. The top hat sounds fun now. There are a few things more dangerous to whatever I'm doing than the crazy ideas I come up with along the way. Okay, so let's get back into this part. Yeah, I'm gonna. Let's do something with the environment here. So I'm just putting in a really simplified landscape. I'm going for scale, depth. I want to make it feel like there's a much deeper landscape than, just a couple of 100 feet here. I'm going to have a sense that there's a lake in there and some trees and am I missing stuff? Are we stuck? Yeah, okay. So I'm just trying to find some neat shapes. Move your eye around a little bit. You ever seen a valley image or an actual valley? Let's say that is what I'm going for. I don't know if you can see a landscape in there yet, but sorry, I was out of the thing. I want to, instead of just focus on the complete finish on the dragon, I got to make sure I've got a sense of the overall composition, right? Rocks. And I'm going to have these trees over top, right? This makes zero shape right now. Zero sense, I'm sorry, these shapes. I was just thinking about something as I was painting. Thinking grounded in what we know, we think of 4 seasons in Canada or 2 seasons elsewhere in the world, you know. But what if we stop thinking about that box of seasons and think more of seasons that fit within the context of our fantasy story? You know, this is the, you know, in our narrative, we can talk about how, well, the seasons don't really seem to change much. And yet we have specific names for them because of how the world is affected at the time. And so then we can kind of introduce the idea of other names for our seasons, right? I hope that makes sense. Castle. So this is the brown with some black in it. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Miriam, how you doing? I'm gonna go back and watch your video, Miriam. You look like you guys are having fun. So, anyways, what I was saying was, what if instead of thinking about 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter, we think about the season of the tooth? You know? So, one of the things that this affords us by breaking down these 4 panels is that I can talk about the four seasons and what that represents to the kingdom, and then I can do slight changes to the landscape. A little bit more light, a little bit less light. And in the foreground here, as we've got our silhouette in the foreground, we can put the silhouette of people in there, or we can have, I don't know, but just having this as this sort of silhouetted out area allows us, again, in this lower area here, is if as we silhouette this out in the foreground, to just get to the larger camera. Okay, so in the composition, right, we've got our dragon, we've started putting in our landscape with their castle up on the hill, we've got some trees in the foreground and silhouette. If we do the forward area here in a silhouette, then we've got 4 points of narrative where, and while the panel dividers have been covered up for a lot of the area, there's certain things I can do. Like if I reinstate them, let's say I leave the silhouette part all the way across. I leave the dragon across. But these areas here, right, if I leave this whited out all the way up through here, and it sort of divides the landscape, but what it also does is it changes the structure of the page. So the page is no longer one image. The page is now 4 quadrants so that we can have a passage of time through those. And so we can talk about, the different things that happen in these months. And by dividing it like so, with at least leaving the dragon over top of them, so that I cut the dragon out from the border division, and he sits on top. But by going through the composition like this, it gives us the ability to have our narrative elements move through the entirety of the space, right? And in that way we can tell far more story. That way we can tell far more story by basing it up in these 4 vertical elements, and so allow our narrative to follow that through. That's an idea. In the meantime, we've got a lot of stuff started out here. I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, wow, that's great. Oh, thanks very much, Ron. Linda, Harry, hi, Miriam. Wow, Christopher. Oh, that's very nice of you. That's a great way to show that. You're going to treat every color as a... Thank you, Mariah. Are you going to treat every color as a panel? Yeah. So I think that you share the dragon. Yeah, share it across, right? And the dragon controls the narrative. So the whole context, the context of the narrative now, you've got your principal element, which moves through the sky. But by having the narratives affect through the course of the year and what this represents in that, it gives us a larger story that we can tell. And by the time we get down to here is where I can paint in a silhouette of some kind, a guy with a long spear or some kind of sort of thing. And in this last panel, one of the things that I can do, and I didn't want to quite show this yet, but might as well just tell you, is that in this last panel, because the dragon is only in the first 3, we can put another dragon in the last panel. So it's an idea. Another idea is to push narrative elements into the foreground. First, we've got the trees. Then we can draw burnt trees in this lower part of the silhouette. here we can have a number of soldiers with banners. And the banner aspect of that panel is it's a recurring narrative element. The tail of the dragon works kind of like a flag in the wind, kind of like a banner. So by having knights down below who've got spears with banners on them, that continues this element. But then by having a dead dragon on the side of the castle, it just gives us a far more massive story. So it's just sort of piecing it as it comes along. Time to get easy. Looking forward to seeing more. Thanks very much, Mariah. Thanks for coming and hanging out. The dragon controls a nerve. Yes, indeed. So I think with that in mind, so having burnt tree stumps, okay, so that the dragon has made an awful mess. Let me just do it in paint. The dragon's made a mess of the countryside now, right? So in this part of the narrative, we've got burnt trees, okay? And in our silhouette area. So that there's nobody, where we had lush greenery, we no longer do, right? It's gone. So I can cover this part over here with the other part of the landscape. This is a little more bleak now. So then in this panel, as I draw in, let's say I've got, a soldier or a knight or whatever you want to call him. And he's standing here and he's holding which is a pike or something like that, like a spear. And he's got let's paint it in. I can cover it up if we don't like it. So he's now in the foreground. So there's our first knight, right? Killer, why a dead dragon? Well, we don't have to have a dead dragon, Miriam. That's the point is that we can put a dragon element in here because we don't have one crossing into this panel. And in the course of the narrative, it can be suggested that all of these knight guys that are showing up in the foreground with their various banners flying in the wind is that these guys are here to cleanse the landscape of dragon. And it's just a story element, right? And so the flags that are here, right? This is a reversal of the movement of the tail of the dragon in the air. So then when we get to the final panel, we've got the worm lying across the landscape. Like so if the worm is here, we've got a crooked wing or something like that. But the worm lies near the castle, and we can have the castle on fire. Right? Most dragons die as misunderstood creatures. So, definitely. And I'm not saying that every mythology dragons are bad guys. I'm just talking about something that we can do for a progression of story using these elements. And by using a simple device like a silhouette down in the foreground here, just makes for not only a place for narrative elements right here, right? Lots, like, look, you can put lots of text there, lots of text there, lots of text there. You can put lots of text there, lots of text, right? Text right here. And it has whatever the text is that's in those, the silhouetted areas, has some impact now. It has some weight now because it's going to resonate differently because it's got this black background as opposed to the rest of the text that's part of the composition, part of the painting. Whereas here it can be all bleak things that are being said. So if I draw, or if I paint this in, now we've got the passage of seasons. At the very least, the passage of time. But we've got different situations that are happening across these 4 panels. You know, and then the foreground is sort of moves into, takes the reader back into the composition. But we've got these directional lines that are taking us this way. We've got directional lines that are taking us this way. We've got directional lines that are taking us that way. There's a movement here. There's the opposite movement here. You know, there's this sweep of the dragon this way. Hopefully the landscape sweeps up this way. You know, it's the little trying things, right? So big and powerful and ends up dead. Chris would have a dragon if she could. Yeah, I don't know how your cats would feel about that, but there's a fun idea for a story is what if, like cats and dogs, we could have pet dragons or other magical creatures. Yeah, so, you know, Mother of Dragons. Never finished Game of Thrones, by the way. Just read the books. The books will never finish, but he's not going to finish the books before he dies. He's farting around too much. It's ridiculous. If I was his fan base, I'd just be sending them constant letters and flipping them off. Get back to work. Stop appearing on TV and working on other projects and finish the one you got going. Unless he secretly already does. He's just being a jerk. Okay, so there's the gist of our composition. Here's the gist of our narrative. I mean, it might be more interesting to draw the dragon up against the castle, you know, and have the tail move down this far. And there's the other wing there. But to have him crashed against the castle and the castle on fire. The dragons behave like cats. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting too. Okay, so there's the gist of the page for tomorrow. I have a book when I was little. Artemito y la Princesa, a Friendly Dragon. Oh, nice. There's a great series of books by Anne Borchardt, the older sister. Or I'm sorry, by Borchart's her last name. It's the older sister of Anne Rice, and she wrote these absolute genius retelling of the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur and all that, but from the perspective of Welsh Guinevere. and it's really impressive. But she's the tribe of the dragon, so it's really kind of cool. Unfortunately, Alice Borchardt died before she finished the third book, which is such a. I wish somebody would finish it. It was such an amazing read. I like her far better than I like her younger sister, Anne Rice. And if most people know Anne Rice from Vampire, Lestat, and all that business, but Alice Borchardt, her older sister, is just phenomenal. Didn't start writing until she was in her 50s. There's another guy that I was reading, Cliff Graham. He was writing this absolutely amazing series, Day of War, Covenant of War. It was about David and his mighty men, and it was contextualizing it as, real battlefield happenstance and just the horror, like just the worst part of it all. Like you think about, oh, this person goes and does this, but that would be a terrible thing to have to do. And you think this person goes and fights a lion. That's not great. You don't want to fight a lion, So, hi, Yolanda. How are you? Cool dragon. Thank you. So I'll just for one last time, I'll walk through it. So the idea is this. 4 seasons. So it's the suggestions from Miriam and Chris's stream on the weekend was fantasy, seasonal, medieval, and lantern or candle. Oh, well, that's great. We can do this. We can have a lantern right here hanging at the side of the road. And we'll continue this linear motif through here by having a yard arm across. And then here's a lantern hanging on it. And so fantasy, seasonal, medieval, lantern. And the colors are red, grays, and browns. So, yeah, Alice Borchardt, incredible, absolutely incredible, the 2 books that she wrote. I'm sorry I'm setting you up for a series that, as far as I know, doesn't have a conclusion. And if you find out that there is a third something written by somebody else, please let me know. Like, I have Eoin Colfer's last book for the Hitchhiker series that Douglas Adams wrote, and Eoin Colfer finished it according to Douglas Adams' layout. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a 7th book. But is the dragon lighting the lantern with their breath? Nope, the dragon is lying here against the castle. So because we have the dragon across these 3 panels, trees, burnt trees, all these soldiers with the flags that are, here's this tail moving this way, here's the flags moving that way. So it gives you a sense of opposition. And then at the end is, burning castle and dragon lying against it. And here's a lantern lit on the road in order to sort of try to suggest life, that there's still people here, even though this thing has happened. There's a glowing lantern in the foreground, so the people are okay. But Cheryl. So that's the. Oops, I still got this up. So that'll be the conclusion. So that meets all of the suggestions for all the prompts. I'm so sorry. So this is fun. This is a fun one. So I'll finish this off later tonight. I might just come on and do it in camera. Why not? We'll see. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun laying this out with everybody, and I hope people have had a good time and enjoyed themselves. I'll have this posted for tomorrow. I finally put the posts up for the PNM Art Studio pages, and I'm gonna put a different banner on yesterday's video so that Mariah can use that so people know which one to look at to see when we started drawing the page. Thank you, everybody, for taking part. Tomorrow, Mariah's mentioned that she likes when I work white on black. And so tomorrow I'll be doing that. I'll have this page posted Keep an eye out for me to put up that I'll be streaming tonight. It'll probably be like 9 o'clock that I might come out and stream, just because 9 or 10 anyways, p.m. EST. But definitely tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST, I'll be starting our next page. And I'll have this one posted on Instagram and Facebook. So if you're following those, or my Patreon, you can see the original art. But on Instagram and Facebook, I'll post up the page tomorrow, just like I posted the Adventures of P&M page. And here's it for one last time. There it is. So look forward to seeing your finished P&M page. Thank you, says Miriam. You're welcome. Thank you. So many names to learn. Yeah, lots and lots of names. Thank you so much, Christopher. Hey, thank you so much, Cheryl. I'm going to try to remember, Cheryl. I'm really bad with things. I do my best. You can call us as is. Just that's. I tend to call people Bucket or whatever, just because I can't remember. I got my kids' names tattooed on my arm. It doesn't mean I don't know their names. You know what I mean? Okay, I've got to get a couple things done, and thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. 2 p.m. tomorrow EST. I'll see you then if I don't see you tonight. Bye for now. Thanks for hanging out.